This story is a fictional dramatization. It's inspired by the very real themes of judging others and the surprising power of kindness. It's a reminder that what someone is worth has nothing to do with how they look, and a single act of compassion can ripple through time in ways we can't even imagine. The saleswoman's voice sliced through the store's quiet elegance. "Sir, I think you're in the wrong place. That necklace is $7,000. She didn't even try to hide the disgust in her tone. James, a single dad in a worn but clean jacket, looked up from the delicate diamond pendant he'd been admiring. He gripped the small, wrinkled envelope of cash in his pocket a little tighter. "Oh, I know," he stammered, his voice barely a whisper. "It's just, my daughter's birthday is tomorrow. She loves anything that sparkles. I promised her a princess necklace." The saleswoman, Victoria, let out a sharp, disbelieving laugh. It was so loud that it drew stares from other shoppers draped in designer clothes. "A princess necklace?" she mocked. "Sir, our clients are actual royalty, not people who play make-believe." "Security!" she shouted, her voice ringing with fake outrage. "Can you please show this man out? He's making our customers uncomfortable." For James, this wasn't just a store. It was a palace of light, the kind of place his 7-year-old Lily would gasp at with wide, wonderful eyes. For 6 long months, he'd worked double shifts at the warehouse, skipped meals, and walked an extra 2 miles to work, all to save the few $100s that suddenly felt so worthless in his pocket. He knew he couldn't afford the masterpiece under the glass, but he had hoped, prayed, there might be something, anything, small and silver in a forgotten corner that could make his daughter's birthday wish come true. Just yesterday, Lily had drawn him a picture. It was a crayon sketch of her and him with a mess of yellow scribbles around her neck for a glittering necklace. "For my birthday, Daddy, I just want to be a princess for one day." Her request was so simple, so pure, it broke his heart. He didn't have much, but he had his promise. He walked into the city's fanciest jewelry store, not to buy the most expensive thing, but with the desperate hope of finding just a piece of his daughter's dream. He wanted her, for just a moment, to feel as precious as the gems all around them. He'd prepared himself for the cold shoulders and judging stares, but he hadn't prepared for this level of pure cruelty. As the large security guard started walking towards them, James's first instinct was to pull his daughter close, to shield her from the ugly scene. "Please," James said quietly to Victoria, his voice strained as he fought to hold back his shame. "We're leaving." But Victoria was enjoying the show. "Leaving? You should have never come in," she announced, loud enough for a nearby couple to hear. The woman, covered in pearls, shot her husband a knowing smirk. The man just shook his head, like he was shooing away a fly. The judgment in the air was so thick you could choke on it. A younger sales associate named Clara, who had kind eyes, rushed over. "Victoria, maybe I can help him," pointing to a less flashy display case. "We have some lovely silver lockets that are a bit more, accessible." She shot her a look of pure poison. "Clara, don't waste your time on vagrants. Our commission is based on sales, not charity. Go polish the silver. I'll handle this." She turned her back on Clara and faced James again. "Security is almost here. I suggest you leave now before this becomes a legal problem." James felt his face burning. He looked down at his daughter, who was now just staring at the floor, her little shoulders slumped. The sparkle he wanted to give her had been stolen and replaced with shame. He had failed. He squeezed her hand, his heart sinking in his chest. "Come on, sweetie," he whispered, his voice cracking. "Let's go." As they turned to leave, the whispers and muffled laughter of the other customers felt like a physical blow. He had never felt so small. "What exactly is going on here?" The voice wasn't loud, but it had an authority that cut through the room and silenced everyone. Every head turned. A man in a perfectly tailored suit, with graying hair at his temples, stepped out of a private office. His sharp, intelligent eyes scanned the scene. James's worn-out jacket, Lily's sad face, the approaching guard, and Victoria's triumphant sneer. This was Mr. Harrison, the owner of the entire chain of boutiques. His name was a synonym for luxury and success. Victoria's expression instantly changed from scorn to boot-licking respect. "Mr. Harrison, so sorry. I was just handling a situation. This man was bothering our clients, so I was having him removed, to protect the store's reputation." She smiled, clearly expecting a pat on the back. But Mr. Harrison wasn't looking at her. His eyes were locked on James. He walked right past Victoria as if she were a ghost. The security guard froze, unsure what to do. The other customers watched, fascinated by this new twist in the drama. Mr. Harrison's face was a mask of calm control, but as he got closer to James, something flickered in his eyes. Disbelief, then shock, and finally a wave of recognition that made them go wide. Ignoring the gasps from everyone watching, Mr. Harrison stopped right in front of the single father. It can't be," he murmured, his voice now full of an emotion no one in that store had ever heard from him. He looked at James, really looked at him. "James, is that you? James Miller?" Confused and still stinging from the humiliation, James looked up and said, Yes, I'm sorry, do I know you?" A slow smile spread across Mr. Harrison's face, a smile of pure, genuine gratitude. He turned to the stunned crowd. "Everyone, you see this man that my employee just tried to throw out on the street?" He put a firm hand on James's shoulder. 15 years ago, I didn't have this suit. I didn't have this store. I had nothing. I was homeless, sleeping on a park bench not 10 blocks from here, starving and ready to give up. The store was dead silent. It was the coldest night of the year, and I hadn't eaten in 2 days. This man, James Miller, was walking home. He had just been laid off. He had almost nothing himself, but he stopped. He sat down next to me on that bench, and he shared his dinner with me, a simple sandwich. Then he reached into his wallet, took out the last $20 bill he owned, and gave it to me. Mr. Harrison's voice grew thick with emotion. He looked at me, a total stranger, and said, "Don't ever give up. Kindness is the only thing we have that's free to give, but it's worth everything. That sandwich, that $20, that kindness. It didn't just save me from going hungry, it saved my life. It gave me the hope I needed to keep fighting." The silence was finally broken by a choked gasp from Victoria. The color drained from her face. She looked like she was about to faint. The customers who had been smirking moments ago were now staring at the floor, their own faces red with shame. Mr. Harrison finally turned to Victoria, and the warmth in his eyes turned to ice. "You were protecting my store's reputation," he asked, his voice dangerously quiet. "My entire company was built on the kindness this man showed me when I had nothing. You didn't protect my brand, you disgraced it. You judged a man by his jacket when you should have been judging yourself for your complete lack of humanity." He didn't have to shout. "Pack your things, you're fired." Victoria stood frozen for a second, then scurried away without another word. Mr. Harrison then looked over at Clara, the young woman who had tried to help. "Clara," he said, his voice softening, "as of right now, you're the new floor manager. I want people with your character representing this company." Clara's eyes filled with tears as she just nodded, too overwhelmed to speak. This story may be fictional, but the truth behind it is very real. A moment of judgment can crush someone's spirit, but a single act of kindness can completely change a life. Has a stranger's kindness ever made a difference in your life? We'd be honored if you shared your story in the comments. And if you believe compassion is the most valuable thing in the world, please subscribe for more stories that lift the spirit. Mr. Harrison then knelt to be at eye level with Lily, who had been watching everything with wide, confused eyes. "Hello, princess," he said gently. "Your father is one of the greatest men I've ever met. He's a hero." He stood and walked to the main display case. He pulled out the $7,000 diamond necklace, the one James had been looking at. He came back and gently fastened it around Lily's small neck. "Every princess deserves to sparkle," he said softly. James was speechless. I can't accept this." "You aren't accepting it," Mr. Harrison replied, placing a hand on his friend's arm. "You're allowing me to pay back a debt that can never truly be repaid. And on that note, I need honest, good people in my company. I have a management position for you at my corporate office. I need a man with your integrity on my team." Tears streamed down James's face as he left the store, holding the hand of his thrilled daughter, who couldn't stop touching the princess necklace sparkling on her chest. He had walked in feeling worthless and walked out with his dignity, a new career, and his daughter's dream come true. That night, as James tucked Lily into bed, she hugged him tighter than ever. "Daddy," she whispered sleepily, "this was the best birthday ever." He looked at the diamond necklace, glittering softly on her nightstand in the moonlight. It wasn't just jewelry, it was a symbol. It was proof that you never know the impact you have on other people. An act of kindness, given with no thought of getting something in return, had come back to him 15 years later and changed his life forever.